Bless the Lord, O my soul, bless it.
Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to another video on Armor of God. Well, for this video, it's going to be a little bit different because we're not going to be talking about demons or exorcisms at all. Instead, what we want to share with you is how the Lord of the Rings is both Christian and Catholic. Recently, I shared an audio clip of Father Ripperger comparing Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings, and I saw a lot of comments who are still confused why Father Ripperger didn't condemn the Lord of the Rings because, as we know, there are magic in the Lord of the Rings too. And I probably should add that the clearest example would be the wizard Gandalf. Here, let me share with you the audio.
Tolkien had magic. I mean, is it just because of magic? No, it's not just because of the magic. It's the whole thing. But in Tolkien, the magic was a literary device. It wasn't something in which the person, when he heard Gandalf saying the magic, I want to be Gandalf and do these magic things. That's not what you just didn't have that. It was just recognized that in this case, a certain thing beyond the natural means was necessary in order to bring something about. Whereas in the J.K. Rowling's thing, it's so imbued and it makes it look so glorious and all those things. It's really enticing, and that's another reason why I tell people don't let your kids read it.
And so here, we'd like to share with you a few examples that illustrate how Tolkien's Catholicity was the leading factor of the story of Middle-earth, as explained by Joseph Pearce, who is the author of several books on Tolkien.
Tolkien gives the game away allegorically when he has the ring destroyed on March 25th. For Catholics, this day marks the solemnity of the Annunciation, or the Incarnation. But also, traditionally, the Church has believed that the historical date of the Crucifixion itself was March 25th, and Tolkien, who was a medievalist, certainly knew that. By connecting the destruction of the ring with the destruction of sin, we can see that the ring can be seen as synonymous with sin, and therefore, the power of the ring is the power of sin. Also, the necessity of bearing the consequence of sin sacrificially is the very heart of the story. Frodo is a Christ figure as the ring bearer. If the ring is seen as synonymous with sin, the bearing of the ring is like the carrying of the sin. Christ bore the burden of sin by carrying the cross. In other words, Frodo is a Christ figure by carrying the burden of sin as Christ carried the cross. Gandalf is a Christ figure in his death, resurrection, and transfiguration. The wizard lays down his life for his friends at the bridge of Khazad-dûm, and is later resurrected as Gandalf the White. His transfiguration is evidenced in the part where his friends first see him in his resurrected form, but his garments are so white and dazzling that his friends are forced to cover their eyes, and Gandalf is forced to wear a gray cloak over the white. Aragorn is the third major Christ figure because he is the true king. As true king, he has the power to descend into the land of the dead and to have power over the dead themselves, to release the dead from their curse. Of course, this reminds us of Christ's descent into hell after his crucifixion to liberate the souls of the dead. Boromir, for instance, who is the only human representative in the Fellowship of the Ring, shows the fact that we are susceptible to trying to use the power of evil supposedly for good. And Boromir later learns that evil means can't be used to a good end because it's impossible to use the power of the ring to defeat the power of the ring. Faramir, his brother, is the one who says that he would not pick up the ring if he saw it lying on the side of the road, and that he would not snare even an orc with a force hood. In other words, he would not tell the smallest lie to the devil himself. Faramir shows the alternate to Boromir, that we're called to sanctity, to perfection, to be Christ-like, and to treat evil with contempt. Gollum shows us what happens if we allow ourselves to be possessed by the power of evil. Instead of the good hobbit we are meant to be, Gollum shows us the corrupted version. The ring makes him an addict to the power of sin, selfishness, and pride. He's no longer able to give himself sacrificially to others because he's too self-obsessed. Tolkien gives a linguistic clue to how the Lembas bread is a figure of the Eucharist. In one of the Elvish languages, Lembas means way bread. This reminds of the Viaticum, the blessed sacrament taken to the sick, which basically means for the way. In the other Elvish language, Lembas means life bread or bread of life. The book also mentions that this bread feeds the will more than it feeds the body. Pierce speculates in his book, Frodo's Journey, that Tolkien, being a practicing Catholic, would have heard about the many Eucharistic miracles that were happening around the time he was writing the book. Hearing about how someone could live on the Blessed Sacrament alone could have motivated him to write that Frodo and Sam lived on nothing but Lembas bread as they were walking through Mordor.
Well then, that's all for this time. I'm not sure if this falls under the subject of spiritual warfare, but it's just taking a little break from talking about the devil, demons, and all that, and if you like videos like this, please let us know down in the comments below, and we'll try to come up with videos like this in the future. For those of you who'd like to support our works, I left a link to our PayPal donation down in the description box below. We'd like to thank each one of you who have contributed and supported our works. We're really thankful to you, and we'll try to deliver more useful videos continuously. Well then, until the next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you.